Women of Reddit, what has been your worst nice guy experience? Joined student government and made a new friend the first day. He asked for my number so we could easily contact each other considering we were working in the same department. Figured it made sense, so I gave him my number. An hour later I get a text message asking if I wanted to hang out sometime. Still didn't think much of it and figured I would reply later after class. Around half an hour later he sends me another text asking if I was interested and why I hadn't replied yet. Then he calls me. I don't pick up because I'm creeped out at this point. He leaves me a voicemail and starts flipping out on me saying I should just be upfront with him instead of leading him on. Immediately calls back again and leaves a voicemail asking if I'm still interested. If so I should let him know as soon as possible. Leaves another voicemail and gets angry at me saying that I'm not worth it and tells me I lost my chance. Then he calls again. I decline the call and block his number. Never saw him in student government after that day though. When visiting my hometown, an old guy friend from high school contacted me saying him and a group of old high school buddies were going to a coffee house at our old school then to a bar after and they wanted me to come. When I got there, it was just him. He told me the one person cancelled and the two others were running late and would meet us at a bar after the show. I always felt comfortable with this guy, so I didn't mind sitting in the back of the coffee house and catching up. After the coffee house, he offered to follow me home so I could drop off my car. He didn't drink, but I did at the time. He said he would be my DD. I thought that would be alright. My mom knew my plans. We get to the bar and a couple of friends are there waiting on us with drinks for me. I have about 4 mixed drinks. Our 2 friends take off, but my ride was finishing up a game of pool, so I waited. He ordered me another drink, even though I said I had enough, and got frustrated and offended that I wouldn't drink it since he paid for it. I caved in and drank it. After driving me home, he tried to bang me in my driveway, hands all over the place, kissing me while I pushed him away. I had to slap him across the face to get him to stop. After slapping him, he beached about how lucky I should feel because he was a really nice guy and treated me like a princess all night. He also screamed at me from the car window that I was a slut. He was not a nice guy. Many moons ago I met a guy on a Cupid and went on exactly 1 date. We had an okay time until the end of the date when he would not let go of me, as in hugged me and wouldn't stop. At first I kind of laughed, but it quickly accelerated to okay, ducking let me go now. He let go about 2 seconds before I went screaming bloody murder ballistic, and suffice it to say I was done with this guy forever. He sent me 3 emails that night, 3 the next day, and kept this up for about a month. Then about 3 months later he emailed me again to see if y'all decided you're into nice guys after all. I had one guy who had a crush on me completely stop talking to me when I started dating someone else, but on my birthday I got a huge box in the mail from him. It had a ton of weird stuff in it, bed sheets, a stuffed giraffe, an old journal from a young grade that they had to write in 4 points with new entries made about me all written in his kid style, a framed collage of pictures of me, and screenshots of our text conversations, a letter explaining the giraffe begged to be sent to me, as well as congratulating me on my 4-month anniversary. I called him immediately to tell him that it was inappropriate, and he called my boyfriend and got into a fight with him or something, and then posted on Facebook about how he went out of his way to get a nice gift for a girl who didn't appreciate it. Edit, a word. Also, since it seems unclear, Nisega I live 300 miles away, so the fight was just a phone conversation that I wasn't around to hear. Oh, and the bed sheets were his, not new, unopened bed sheets. I had a random guy add me on Facebook. One mutual friend, but nothing else in common. No idea who he was, so, logically, I ignored the request. The next day I start getting messages. I know someone as beautiful as you would never talk to me, but I have to try. Girls like you are the worst. Him just being nice. You could at least say hi, beach. Him the best you could get. I blocked him. Was thoroughly creeped out for a while after that. Who does that? I was getting tutored at school one time and the guy who was tutoring me was asking what my plans were for the weekend. I assumed it was small talk, so I just said the usual, studying, working, hanging out with my boyfriend. He got so pissed. He started to rant on and on about how girls like me were all the same. Always using guys and then never giving anything in return. That he helped me, so the least I could do was go out on a date with him. That is so nice. And no girls ever want to date him. Probably because we all like jerks, his words. He said I was a fake/tease too for allowing him to tutor me. He got kind of aggressive too and started to slam things around/shove chairs into the tables and stuff. I noped out of there so fast. First few weeks in freshman year of high school was waiting at the lunch line when a senior comes up to me and offers to pay my lunch. Despite being 14, I can still tell he's obviously going to try to make a move or something, but I say duck it, free lunch right? Anyway, he buys my lunch and I expect him to ask my number or some other petty shit, but this Methodicus says, and I quote, "Meet me in the bathroom after lunch."
N.
Oh boy, I was out at a bar and a guy started talking to me. After about 5 minutes I told him I actually had a long-term boyfriend, so if you would rather mingle that was totally fine with me, and I completely understood. He looked so hurt and was like, "OMG no, you seem great and I'd love to keep talking." Of course that's no problem at all. He was really outgoing and we had a fun rapport, so I stuck around. About an hour in, him now pretty buzzed, and the nice guy manipulation begins. He keeps touching me, and whenever I tell him to stop he's like, "You're so on edge." Him just being friendly, OMG haha. Just constantly invalidating my boundaries and making me feel impolite. Then he starts in with the badgering. "If you weren't interested, why did you accept a drink? If you're so happy with your boyfriend, then why are you out here? Don't you know he's probably cheating on you since he's alone? You're too young for a serious relationship anyway." I finally had it when he said, "Look at your sister over there. She's so sexual and men love her. You should be like that. People would like you better." I told him he didn't know what he was talking about, and I was visibly angered. Then the weirdest thing happened. In that moment I turned invisible. Like his eyes glazed over and I ceased to exist, and he just wandered away to a new group of girls. As soon as he finally gave up trying to get in my pants, I wasn't even a person anymore. Our hour plus of laughing together and sharing about our lives I took as a genuine human connection meant literally nothing. I was just someone maybe he could bully into ducking. Anyway, there's a nice guy for ya. It sucks being reduced to an object after you think someone actually found you interesting and funny or whatever. But such is life sometimes. I've had a number of guys who I went on a date with who insisted on paying for my meal or drinks or whatever, who then turn around and get really angry if I don't want to hook up with them because I owe them. When I point out that I'm not a prostitute, they always tell me how I should be more appreciative of how nice and kind they were to me. I always stop dating for a while after this happens. A long time ago, a guy in my group project insisted on driving me home afterwards because he didn't want me to walk in the rain. How nice of him. The next time our group met up, he wanted to drive me home again, but I declined because I was going to a friend's place. He blew the duck up at me and said the only reason I wouldn't date him, first of all, a ride home is not a date, dude, was because he was Middle Eastern. I already had a boyfriend at the time who was Lebanese. I thought that would shut him up, but then he said that white women shouldn't be with Arabic men. Like, you just wanted to date me a second ago, pal. Another dude in the group thankfully suggested subtly that we finish each project via email. A true bro. He'll never forget you. Guy whose name I forgot. He seemed nice at first. We dated for maybe 2 weeks. I wasn't feeling it, so rather than lead him on, I broke up with him. He went on to tell his whole Christian Bible college about how the woman he was going to marry had broken his heart and that they should pray for me. He then texted me every few days to tell me that he was praying for me and that he's here for me whenever I'm ready. I blocked him after a few of those because I'm happily in a great relationship now. But he still posts stuff on Instagram about me and how I broke his heart. It's awkward. It was high school. I considered the guy my best friend, and when he revealed that he had feelings for me, I rejected him and asked if he was comfortable staying just friends. He insisted that it was cool, that I didn't feel the same way, and he wanted to keep hanging out platonically. He was mostly pretty okay about it, until I started seeing a girl. Wow, even girls are getting a shot with you before I do. Huh, he joked. I told him that my new relationship was a secret because she and I were both still in the closet. He was the only one I told, since, you know. He claimed to be my best friend. By the next week, everyone in our entire hometown knew. Faced tons of backlash. Got homophobic slurs muttered about me in the hallways at school. Good times. TL. Doctor rejected a guy and he ducking outed me. I went on some dates with a very nice guy who naturally complained that girls didn't like him because he was too nice. The problem was that his idea of nice was avoiding confrontation. I did something that upset him, and instead of talking to me about it, he sent me this insanely long text message that came through scrambled, and I could barely read it. So I say come over, and we will talk about it. Shows up, says basically nothing, even when I'm asking pointed questions, based on what I was able to decipher from this crazy long text. Happened a second time and I gave up. He was nice, but that definitely wasn't the problem. It was that he never wanted to say something even mildly confrontational, which meant we couldn't ever talk about something we might disagree about. No way to move forward in a relationship like that. So now I'm just one more woman who didn't like him because he is too nice. Ed. I've met so many nice guys, but this one always sticks out in my mind as it went from 0 to 100 real quick. I live in Australia and there was a touring band from the US who were visiting, and I ran into a band member at a cafe. I previously never heard of the band, but Google later confirmed he was indeed legit. We struck up a conversation, and I liked his accent and he invited me to a show. I had family plans, so he gave me his number. I contacted him, and he out of nowhere proceeds to blow up my phone with message after message, asking me to meet him at his hotel, send him explicit pictures, etc., and became more and more agitated that I wasn't falling at his feet. I was pretty weirded out and didn't respond to the 43 messages he'd sent in just over an hour. Knowing that I said I was at a family event, he starts calling. I don't answer. He gets mad, tells me he'll meet someone else tonight anyway, and goes to play his set. 2 AM rolls around, and I get a voicemail from him apologizing and sobbing, telling me he's not like those guys. Please forgive me. I block him. Within a few minutes an email pops up with a video of him masturbating and finishing himself off onto a hand towel. I then never heard from him again, and he unfollowed my Instagram and blocked me. I found out later he also had a long-term girlfriend. What a jerk off. Literally. I left a university club meeting, and the organizer told all the guys to walk the girls to their cars to protect them. One guy walked me to my car and then pinned me against my door, refusing to let me get into my car until I kissed him and agreed to go on a date with him. He kept saying he was a nice guy. He walked me to my car. He was a gentleman. I kept begging him to let me go and that he was hurting me. He had pinned my arm behind my shoulder. My shoulder hurt for a week. I finally relented and let him kiss me while I cried and lied that I would go on a date with him. When I finally got home and told my friends what happened, they said, "Why didn't you just agree to go on a date with him? He's such a nice guy." That happened 10 years ago and it still scares me. A past co-worker had a huge crush on me. He was very sweet, but I would ignore his incessant messaging. And when he asked me if I received his messages that weekend, I came up with a basic excuse. "Sorry, but my phone is messed up and I don't receive messages on time." This ducking guy not only believes a terrible excuse, but he adds a phone line to his phone plan, gets a great quality, brand new goddamn phone, and surprises me with it at the end of my shift. As he stands beside my car with a bulgy-eyed stuffed animal and a T-Mobile box, I wanted to crawl into a hole. Long story short, let him down easy and he cried. No, he did not get watery-eyed. He ducking cried with snot coming out as I gave him a ride home because he had taken the bus for an added surprise, so I wouldn't suspect he was there. Cringe.